brace yourselves for what I'm about to show you. Okay.
Like, that looks syphilis-esque to me.
Yet another sign this man is not well or okay to be leading the country.
Trump was pictured today with a disturbing new health issue, and the internet is freaking out just a little. A bold picture was snapped showing him from an unusual angle, and it ain't pretty, which for Trump, a melting sack of spiteful dextrose, is saying a lot. Before I show you this picture, fair warning, it is pretty grim. So if you are of a sensitive nature, have just had lunch, or don't like seeing pre-decomposing corpses, then viewer discretion is strongly advised. I also advise you to use your discretion in subscribing, because you can bet this channel will be bringing you any updates on Trump's big, beautiful health the moment they happen. Alright, make sure you're firmly seated, grab a firm grip of a table and a sick bag, and here goes. Dun, dun, dun. There's a medical term that doctors like to use when confronted with this health issue. Yikes. This is a stage 9 yikes, in fact. In fact, in the Big Bad Book of Medical Yikes, 2nd edition, this very picture can be seen on the first page. A yikes of this nature leads to a strong public reaction, as you might imagine. Twitter exploded over this picture today. President Syphilis? Someone speculating it's antibiotic and topical treatment resistant from years of STDs. Inflammation from rosacea is going to hurt like a bitch. I couldn't possibly comment. Our best hope is that Trump is taking medical advice from Robert Kennedy Jr. Oh, I didn't need to see that this morning. Somebody zoomed in on his hair. He is terminal. I mean, technically everyone's got a terminal case of being a human, but oh, Jesus. A lot of people said it's shingles, although a lot of people have also said shingles is incredibly painful, and you have to be on a load of amphetamines and hatred to walk around with it, so who knows? This guy says it's a hickey from Lindsey Graham. Someone says it's from a collar. Someone says, I know there's a lot of hate around, but you have to feel sorry for any bacteria that has to touch Trump. This is makeup team every day. These tweets are gold. I looked at these like an hour ago, and there's some even better ones. Someone said he's the reverse Dorian Gray. The portrait in Mar-a-Lago gets younger and younger looking while he turns into the grotesque. Okay, and this guy, who's actually a White House correspondent, posted this update. It says, new White House physician Dr. Sean Barbabella, that's not a real person's name. Like, nobody on his team is serious. They're all so unserious. Dr. Sean Barbabella tells me that he prescribed Trump a preventative skin treatment cream to use on the right side of his neck. The president is using his treatment for 1 week, and the redness is expected to last for a few weeks. The problem is, how can you believe anything that comes out of someone in Trump's team's mouth? Especially, it's like, what cream causes this as a side effect? If this is the side effect the cream causes, what the hell is it treating? Jesus Christ, did he have like a fucking predator neck there? Was he having a second neck hussy growing out the side and they had to just burn it off immediately? Jesus Christ. The irony is, I think there's a bigger story here than Trump's health. Trump is an old, decaying sack of spite, visibly unraveling in front of our eyes. That isn't necessarily new info, but it once again reveals the insane hypocrisy of this administration. A huge aspect of Trump's re-election was him heavily leaning into the I'm a hip and young alternative to Grandpa Joe angle. The way Trump told it, you'd have thought Biden was showing up to the debates in a Zimmer frame and Trump was like cartwheeling in after having performed for the Cirque du Soleil. In reality, their age difference is almost negligible. It literally is negligible. The main difference being that Joe Biden wasn't loaded off his tits on amphetamine so he could power through sleepy bottle time and keep rambling on incoherently in a drug-addled daze. Oh boy, whoa, bigly good. Our totally drug-free president, everyone. Of course, you can only pump crack into a bloated corpse so many times before it starts to lose its luster. For Donald Trump, chasing the dragon of trying to appear like a regularly animated human being has been an impossible task lately, leading to him taking sleepy nappy bye-bye time at increasingly more humiliating intervals.
Which American workers and American farmers have been ripped off. They've been ripped off, and what he's saying is we want to have trade with the world, but it has to be a trade in which American businesses and American workers and the products they make and what American farmers grow and produce has a fair shot to be sold around the world. On issue after issue, that's been the case. You talk about foreign aid reforms. This is not our money, this is taxpayer money. When the president said is we're going to do foreign aid, but we're going to do foreign aid for countries that are aligned with
You like notice how Jolts is being generous. He slowly reanimates when he hears the word president. He's like, Adderall, Jeffrey Epstein, Adderall and Jeffrey Epstein, president, president. Yeah, that's me.
And the successful implementation of the second phase of the Gaza peace plan. This includes ensuring a lasting ceasefire.
Peace in the Middle East. I gotta say, there's something quite charming about a sleepy old granddad nodding off with the word peace below him. He's like, all in his own little world. If only he wasn't a fucking monster. The hypocrisy around Donald Trump's health has only continued with Trump insisting that Joe Biden's health was being hidden from the American people.
President Trump has suggested, without evidence, former President Joe Biden delayed sharing his diagnosis of prostate cancer. NPR's Mara Liasson reports.
Trump initially said he thought Biden's new health challenge was, quote, very sad, but then he seemed to accuse Biden of hiding the information about his cancer.
I'm surprised that it wasn't, the public wasn't notified a long time ago, because to get to stage 9, that's a long time.
Biden's cancer is stage 4, not stage 9. Trump may have been confusing that with Biden's Gleason score of 9. A Gleason score measures the aggressiveness of cancer cells. Trump's latest comments were in line with his repeated attacks on Biden's physical and mental health. Mara Liasson, NPR News.
Stage 9. Stage 9 cancer. Stage 9 cancer is what Trump is on the country. That's the only use of that term. Since then, medical experts have spoken out on the incredible likeliness that Trump had a fairly serious stroke in the last year or so, which ironically has been hard to cover up precisely because Trump is so brainily challenged and can't stop blurting out information that kind of gives it away. Also, his whole face.
He's had a prior stroke. He was taking 325 milligrams of aspirin. That is only recommended for people who've had a stroke to prevent a second stroke from a partially blocked artery, major artery in the brain. When we see patients in the hospital or in clinic, even if we're seeing them for lung problems, we look at their drugs, we look at their past history. We see many patients who've had previous strokes, and we know what that looks like. For President Trump, earlier in the year, there was video of him shuffling, and I thought that was weird. Then I saw him cradling his right hand in his left, which is a common involuntary thing that people with strokes have done when they have weakness on one side. He garbled words much more so a couple months ago than he's doing now. That implicates Broca's speech area, which is in the frontal left portion of the brain. Recently, there was video of him walking down the stairs from Air Force One, holding the banister with his left hand, yet he's right-handed, signs with his right hand. And his speech became much better. That's suggested to me, along with the 325 milligram of aspirin, for which you only take for one thing. He's had a prior stroke. He's recovered from the stroke.
And this is what I meant about Trump not being clever enough to not give away the game. He cannot help himself. He's the one that rambled on about aspirin and how he was not going to have lovely thick blood, but lovely thin blood, or the vice versa. Actually, let me find that quote, because it's one of those things that's like, well, obviously this man is not well. Who says things like this?
President Donald Trump told the Wall Street Journal in an interview that published Thursday that he takes a higher dose of aspirin than his doctors have recommended, blaming that for the visible hand bruises that have generated new questions about his health. They say aspirin is good for thinning out the blood, and I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart, the president, who is 79, said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart. Does that make sense? I'm a little superstitious, the president added, noting that he has been taking aspirin for 25 years. Trump's physician, Dr. Sean Barbabella, told the Journal that the president takes 325 milligrams of aspirin daily. And the interview appears to be one of the most extensive conversations that Trump has had with journalists about his health, as scrutiny has intensified in recent years over his age, fitness for office, and whether or not he's being sufficiently transparent about his medical information.
There it is, the transparency. Whether or not he's being sufficiently transparent about his medical information, answer, fuck no, he's not. But yeah, going back to that quote, I don't want thick blood pouring through my heart. I want nice, thin blood pouring through my heart. Do you understand? Sums up the pure, sheer abject dumbness of the timeline we live in. It is insane. It's not just the blood stuff either. Trump couldn't stop rambling about MRIs and all the scans he's had, not being clever enough to realize he was giving away the game in the, because obviously he thinks he can just say to the journalists, oh, I had this scan for this reason, but they're smart enough to be like, well, it says here this scan's only done if you're very deranged in the head and, very ill and very bigly stupid. So he's literally giving the game away. He can't help but not give the game away. And finally, let's not forget, on the issue of, Trump and being transparent about anything, and the only thing that's transparent about him is his fucking skin. But the issue of Trump being transparent about his health, his first presidential doctor, Dr. Harold Bornstein-Behr, issued a letter in 2015 stating Trump would be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency. Bornstein later revealed, and guys, sit down for this one, you're not going to believe this. He later revealed that Trump himself dictated the content of that letter. What? And that's the point I'm making here, guys. We're not really ever going to find out properly what's up with Donald Trump's health. People have great ideas. A lot of doctors sort of know, but, real doctors, basically nobody who would work for Trump know that you're not supposed to diagnose people without actually having spoken to them, and you're definitely not supposed to take money and say what they tell you to do or do what they tell you to say. So most likely, we're not going to find out what's actually going on with his health until he passes into the great, big, beautiful beyond and maybe, gets taken to Area 51 for the autopsy. And I, for one, would love to see the toxicology report when that happens. I'm British Chris, and this is Raw America.